Welcome to Bilingual Analytics. My name is Roland and today I'm going to show you a quick and easy way of analyzing report usage. But before I talk about any of that, I would like to highlight something really important. In my view, usage metrics should not be used to penalize any report users. Picking on users for not adopting a new tool or a new report is not considered the best practice. Rather than doing that, think about usage metrics as a way to improve your reports, enhance user experience, and most importantly, identify future training needs for your audience. Speaking of training needs, if you learned something new from this video, please consider clicking on the like and subscribe buttons. They help others to find this and similar training videos about Power BI. The first question to answer is, why do we need a usage metrics report? How do you know that the report you delivered is useful? In other words, how do you measure its success? One of the best ways to measure report success is to see adoption rate. How many users are using this new report? Are we seeing the number of users increasing by time? A secondary metric can be the number of times they use the report, or measuring report speed. These could all be valid KPIs to evaluate your success, and usage metrics can help with them. Based on my experience, there are two major types of report creation methods. Both have their benefits and drawbacks. The first one is more of a consultant approach. They usually develop a report concept based on the brief, and after a handful of iterations, deliver the final report to the team and move on to the next project. The second type of report creators are the ones who live and breathe with the team. They are the ones who probably going to be more interested in today's topic. I consider myself an analyst who belongs to this type. We not only like to measure who's using our reports and how, but more importantly, we need to know what's happening in that space. Today, I'm going to introduce the usage metrics report, talk about the two types that we can access, and cover some elements on the report, so you can start utilizing this great tool. In another video, later down the track, I show you how to build your own usage metrics report, how to enhance the data and measures there, and how to suit it to your business needs. With that said, it's time to head over to the service and start exploring the usage metrics report. Firstly, let me show you how quick it is to get the usage metrics figures for a published report. I'm logged into Bilingual Analytics standard report, and all I have to do is click on the ellipsis or three dots on the ribbon and select Open Usage Metrics. Power BI is going to auto-generate this report for us without the need of any kind of interaction. It is indeed a one-click solution to measure our report success. By default, I see the new usage report. However, with this switch on the top, I can move over to the older version. Allow me to start from this new one. I'll come back to the older version in a second part. There are 4 pages, and we are going to talk a bit about each today, but I won't cover every single element on them. You have to do your own testing. Additionally, some of the stuff that are important to me may not be that relevant to you. On the report usage page, we get general info about the report. Things like the number of times user accessed the report, the number of report pages opened, and unique viewers. These are going to be our key measures. Unique viewers represent how many users logged in to the report. Report opens tells us how many times they accessed the report, and lastly, report views shows us, in a sense, the number of interactions users had within the report. There are 154 report opens and 319 report pages views, which means that on average, roughly 2 pages were accessed during each session. I hope it makes sense. In the middle section, we have report opens and page views represented in a timeline. This report only shows the last 30 calendar days. You won't be able to access anything older than a month. I heard many people arguing about whether the 30 days period is long enough or not. If you use this report to change your behavior or change report users' behavior, I would challenge that you really need more than 30 days. Let me know in the comments below if you think differently. My favorite element on this page is the one at the bottom right corner. This visual allows me to see which user logged in and how many times, and the number of report page views for them. Think about this as knowing how many interactions each and every one of them had with the report. Again, I'm going to flag that this report should not be used to punish any users. Please always keep that in mind. Then how should you look at it? Easy. Think about this as the best report you can have to identify training needs, especially for people who have similar roles. Let's see, within Bilingual Analytics, we have our key account managers, Iman, Hyvel, and Isa. In a sense, I would expect all of them to have similar usage figures. I wouldn't compare them to Bill, our CEO, or myself, the owner of the company. But more or less their usage should align within the same responsibility. If we look at these numbers, you can see that Isa and Iman are close with roughly the same usage and interaction. However, Hyvel has only accessed the report 8 times. This indicates to me that he would potentially benefit from a quick training session. I can give him a quick buzz, check if he finds this report useful, talk about the challenges that he faced, and just in general, provide some guidance for him. Of course, I'm not going to say that this will work every single time, and you will be able to convince people to start using your reports more often. But it is not the point. There will always be people who are slower to adopt new tools, people who are less interested in numbers, but you know all of that. And if you spend enough time with the business, you know this already. Usage metrics report can help us, report creators, to identify potential gaps. If you see someone who's usually great with tech and good with numbers, falling behind on usage, you can address that issue promptly. The users page is going to guide us on training needs at the individual level, while the report pages part is going to help at a company-wide level. As you see, I have the sales page ranking on the top, which is great. That's exactly what I wanted to achieve when I created the report. Also, the finance page is lower down. I'm not surprised because only a handful of people should be interested in the financial results. However, I'm surprised that I have more interaction from the management page than I have on the marketing pricing page. I would expect similar usage for that report page as the sales page. It tells me that either I need to explain again or better what's available on that report page, or adjust the visual elements on the page to provide more relevant insights. I hope that you see and hear how I talk about all of this. I'm not afraid to stop and say, hey, that report page that I developed needs some fine-tuning. I wouldn't consider that as a failure at my end. It's about how we look at the data. Maybe I overcomplicated the report page, maybe the navigation or filtering experience on that page is not up to the team's standards. It's always a good idea to ask for feedback, and with usage metrics we can ask the most relevant questions. Also, measure the impact of any changes that we make based on users' feedback. Now let's head back over to the second page, report performance. There are two things that I love about this page. First, it helps me to identify if the report is slow. This is no longer a subjective, "oh, my report is so slow" type of comment. Here I can easily see how quickly my report opens. This could drive a couple of adjustments. Let's start by the obvious, optimizing the report. In some cases, the report we deliver may not be modeled based on a star schema, or the DAX may not be fully optimized, and this performance page can help us with both of that. If the report is fully optimized, we can move over to the second bit that I love here. Again, visual at the bottom right corner. I can see if the report is slow due to a certain browser type. Look at this example. Certain browser types are delivering sub 2 seconds opening times, while some are above that. I like to check who's using IE or Internet Explorer in my day job, as I know that it is a super quick way of fixing speed issues, or at least a good starting point. I'm going to be honest, the report list page is not something that I use that often. It provides a high-level view about the whole workspace with all the reports in it. The reason why I'm not utilizing this page as much as the first two pages is because this one doesn't provide the same granularity. I guess if you have multiple reports in your workspace, this could be a good way to see at a glance what's happening with all of them. And finally, the FAQ page, which is going to help first-time users of this report with a data dictionary. Additionally, you can also click on the link to go to the official Microsoft documentation about usage metrics. As I mentioned in the beginning, there are two versions of usage metrics report. The one we covered is the new workspace experience. It is only available for modern workspaces. But with that switch on the top, you can check the classic report usage appearance. Let's have a look at it together. And just click on the switch here, and you will see the usage metrics report switch to a different view. Right off the bat, there are a couple of big changes. Namely, that this report provides a 90-day interval for usage KPIs. However, the dataset behind this one is not the same as the one driven by the modern experience. While we can still obtain information about number of time users access the report and the number of interactions with the report, we won't be able to find report performance indicators. Things like opening times. I loved using this usage metrics report. However, when Microsoft announced the new experience, I switched all of mine almost immediately. Alright, so what have we learned today? The built-in usage metrics report provides lots of details about how our reports are being utilized. For many of us, it's not enough to create a report and let them go on their own. We need to watch it evolve and being used by users. But most importantly, it was not designed to penalize users for their ways of accessing data. Therefore, you shouldn't use that for that purpose. Usage Metrics Report helps to identify training needs for our users, potential report enhancement needs, and even pinpoint to reasons why our report is slow. It helps to identify user preferences, and in certain niche cases, it can also flag misuse of data. All of that by simply clicking on a single button within our report. This is a super useful and extremely powerful feature from Power BI. I would encourage all report creators out there to explore usage metrics, as it is the best way of measuring the success of your report and therefore your success. With that said, in another video I show you how to take this to the next level by building your own usage metrics report within Power BI. Let me know in the comments below if you are interested in that, so I can push that video higher up on my list of ideas. Thanks for tuning in today. I hope that all of it made sense and you learned something new today. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button on your way out or before you watch any of the above tutorials. Until the next one, see ya!